Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with another video. And this is part 6 to What If Naruto was a generational genius but he was neglected. So, guys, I'm pretty sure you have noticed that last part there was no, in last part there's no music, and a lot of you like the music, so it's sad that I can't do this anymore because the videos in which I put the music were all copyright claimed, and they're under dispute right now. And then I will re-upload them if YouTube forces me to take them down. But I don't want to be doing that to every video in the series. So yeah, I'm just going to hold it on the music until I get the okay from YouTube to continue using it. So it's from a public domain, so it's alright. But just in case YouTube sees a reason to have me take down my videos and shit, yeah, that's why I'm not gonna be putting music until the dispute is over. So, anyways, uh, we left off when Naruto returned to the village from rescuing Gaara, um, with Hanabi's dead body sealed inside a scroll, and uh, a lot of you guys wanted me to revive Hanabi because Naruto has a Rinnegan. But then the thing is, with the Rinne rebirth jutsu, Naruto will actually die if he uses that jutsu. And the only reason why Nagato was able to do it was because he was basically just reviving everyone who he killed on that particular day. And when you're actually going to revive a specific person, it's like a life for a life kind of situation. So yeah. Anyways, um, we start off with this part, and a funeral is going on for Hanabi, and uh, a lot of people there are there bowing down their heads, and like especially the Hyuga clan, and um, Hinata was you know was basically crying, and she was casting dirty glances at Naruto, thinking that it was his fault that Hanabi died. And basically, Naruto and Sasuke were also crying because Hanabi and Sasuke were really good friends, and Naruto and Hanabi, did the deed, so yeah. And so the funeral happens, and we move to the next day, when Naruto is just walking around the village, pretty depressed because of Hanabi's death. But then he decided that Hanabi wouldn't want him to um, want to see him like this, so he decided to find something to take his mind off of Hanabi. So basically, uh, he decided to ask Sasuke to train with him. So he was walking off in the direction of the Forest of Death where he and Sasuke were living, and Sasuke was back in their home now. Um, and he just wanted to walk because um, like even though he could just body flicker or something, he just wanted to walk and look around Konoha a little bit because he didn't really get the chance to do that after he came back from the time skip. And his headband and ninja clothes were off, so and even his ninja equipment and all that stuff, so yeah. And older civilians went up to him, and he was like, "Hey, you little demon, you remember us?" And Naruto looked at them with like an apathetic look, and he was like, "Clearly, what do you want?" And these villagers were actually um, people who were ex shinobi. They actually still quit when they're genin, and they used to beat Naruto up when he was a kid. So yeah. um, and they would almost beat him like every single day, and sometimes it would be really bad, like so bad that he would have to um, he would be lying unconscious there for days because no one would take him to the hospital. And even if they did, the hospitals would refuse to treat him. And people like Itachi and Shisui weren't always around to, find Naruto. So basically, only in like two or three of these incidents, one of them would actually come and rescue Naruto and um, put and Itachi would literally put all the nurses in the hospital who refused to treat Naruto under a genjutsu, showing them like something really scary. And then he threatened to kill them if they didn't treat Naruto. So yeah. Anyways, that's enough sidetracking. So yeah. Um, so these ex-shinobi were staring at him and cracking their knuckles as though they're about to beat him. Naruto wasn't even phased by them, and they're like, "Ah, look, this kid is growing a backbone. Looks like we have to beat that out of him." And Naruto just began to walk past them, but then one of them grabbed his shoulder and he let out us and these villagers didn't actually know that Naruto was a ninja because they hadn't been keeping tabs on who was becoming a ninja and who was not and all of that. And even in the Chunin exams they weren't like even paying attention to all of that. So yeah, they thought that he just failed and he just like became a pathetic excuse for an academy student. And he was just like living around and leeching off the wealth of the Hokage. So basically that's what they thought. And then like when they put their hand on Naruto to stop him, Naruto was like, you want something? And they're like, only to give you a good beating, you demon, to teach you your place. And one of them cocked his fist and decided to punch Naruto, and Naruto easily caught his hand, and he was like, I'd like you to refrain from attacking me. And the man was like, oh really? Is that it, kid? And they were actually both like slightly drunk, so yeah. They were kind of slurring while talking, and he aimed a kick at Naruto, and Naruto just caught his leg and flipped him over and made him face plant into the ground. And the other one the other one tried to punch him, but Naruto encased his fists in lightning and basically caught his fists, and this electrocuted the guy. And both of them fell face and he also fell face down next to his comrade. And Naruto was like, I'll show you what happens if people try to mess with me. And Naruto basically had enough of people trying to have their way with him. And Naruto made two lightning blades, one on each hand, and stabbed it straight through the civilians' hearts. And this basically caught the attention of a bunch of people, and then they began looking at Naruto like, and they were like really scared because they thought that the QB was controlling him. And but then that wasn't true at all because Naruto actually had access to the QB's power. And a few of them actually went to complain to the civilian council. And basically um like when Naruto basically went to visit Tsunade to give her the mission report of what happened with Gara and all of that. Tsunade was looking at him angrily, and so was a civilian from the village. And she was like, Naruto, you attacked and killed two villagers? And Naruto was like, well, it was self-defense since they were both trying to attack me. And Tsunade was like, don't you think it's a bit too far to kill them? And Naruto was like, no, they deserve it. They used to torment me every single day and beat me half to death. So if they beat me half to that several times, it's actually too less of a punishment to completely kill them. Uh, and um, Tsunade's vein popped on her head, and she was like, Listen, Naruto, this is your final warning. Don't never attack a civilian. You're shinobi. Your job is to protect. And Naruto was like, well, those two didn't deserve my protection. And uh, Tsunade just shook her head and she let him out. And the civilian was like, but Hokage-sama. And then Tsunade was like, well, he wasn't wrong about them deserving it, but still, I should talk to him so he doesn't attack civilians like that again. And the civilian she couldn't do anything, and because Tsunade was a Hokage and she couldn't like force her to make any decisions, and she just quietly left the office because she knew Tsunade's temper, and she didn't want to be on the receiving end of it. So anyways, Naruto continued walking around looking for Sasuke, and basically, uh, this is when he ran into Kushina and Minato. Both of them looked like emaciated and like completely worn down, and both of them had several white hairs in their heads by now. And Naruto was like, I wonder what happened to them. And he didn't want to talk to them, so he decided to ask Jiraiya because Jiraiya must have talked to them after getting back to the Leaf Village. So uh, and he noticed that their usually cheery attitudes was not even there, and they were just like walking and staring apathetically ahead. And he asked Jiraiya about what happened to them, and Jiraiya was like, that was because of the psychological trauma they underwent after realizing the stuff, the way they had been treating you. And Naruto was like, so now they realize, do they? And Jiraiya was like, I always found it a bit suspicious actually. Minato and Kushina would never ostracize someone uh, just because they have the nine tails in them. And then Naruto was like, what do you mean? And Jiraiya was like, Naruto, do you know who was the Jinchuriki of the nine tails before you? And Naruto was like, yeah, it was my mother. Why? And Naruto knew this because he read a lot, and also Kurama told him about his previous Jinchuriki and her annoying chakra chains. So basically, Jiraiya was like, Naruto, I thought you were smart. Aren't you seeing the connection? And Naruto was like, well, uh, that means she knows the pain of being a Jinchuriki, so why would she treat me that way? And Jiraiya, he was like, see, that's what I'm saying. There's something wrong with the entire situation. Um, I think they have been influenced from an outside, you know. Um, he was like, I think they must have been influenced by something else. And Naruto was like, what do you mean? And Jiraiya was like, I'm not too sure as well what might have happened, but then now their attitude is genuine, Naruto. I really hope that you can forgive them for what they did, um, and try to make up with them. And Naruto's like, no, I can't forgive them, Pervy Sage, not after what they did to me. And Jiraiya was like, I figured as much, but at least give them a chance. And Naruto's like, I had already given them enough chances while I was still living with them. And Jiraiya was like, but there is something fishy about their attitude. They never acted like that before. Like the way you described their actions towards you, I couldn't even believe it. Not until I um, saw them and and your brat of a brother. And and Naruto was like, But Purvi Sage, I don't. The thing is, I don't know how my parents used to act. So um, I wouldn't know um, whether they were being genuine or not. And Jiraiya, he was like, trust me, kid. I was your father's sensei. I know how he used to act, and I also remember your mother Kushina very well. And they both used to believe in peace, and they were always very loving and caring towards other people. And Naruto's like, uh, he was thinking like that can't be right. That means something is fishy because I am sure that that Purvi Sage um, would know very well what a loving and caring attitude would be, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't the kind of treatment I received at home. But then he's saying that my parents were loving and caring people, and my mother also knew the pain of a Jinchuriki, but she still called me a demon and ostracized me. And Naruto was deep in thought, and he was like, someone must have messed up with their memories. And he actually went to Tsunade again, and this time Tsunade glared at him even more, like angrily, and Naruto was like, all right, Tsunade, all right, Lady Hokage, I'm sorry for what I did to the civilian, but I have to ask you a question. And Tsunade was like, finally apologized, and she was like, all right, kid, asked me. And Naruto was like, do you know what kind of drugs can be used to erase someone's memory? And Tsunade said that only sedatives, anesthetics, and painkillers given in a very high dosage would actually have the ability to do that, to do something like that. And then Naruto was like, I wonder, like he was just thinking, I wonder which one of them it is. And Tsunade was just looking at him suspiciously because she didn't know what he was thinking. And Tsunade is like, Naruto, don't tell me you plan to. And Naruto's like, don't worry, Lady Hokage, I'm not going to use such a thing to wipe anyone's memory. And Tsunade breathed a sigh of relief and then continued on with her duties as Naruto left. And Naruto knew that since he was one, his parents started being more fair to Menma and less to him. So he suspected that that this uh, drug would have been given to them at that time, or even that they might have had a head injury, because he was smart enough to know that head injuries can cause memory loss without Tsunade having to tell him. And he also knew that it was possible that because of a certain kind of disease or because of poison, some of the cells in their brains could have been destroyed. But then he ruled out these possibilities because if the Hokage was poisoned or had such a head injury that it would make him lose his memory, it would have there would have been a decree saying that it wasn't fit for him to be Hokage. Um, for Minato to be a Hokage, and so he knew that the drugs were the only other possible option. And then anyways, by now he told Tsunade about the information that Sasori gave him when he killed him, and he told Tsunade that Sasori told him that the spy Kabuto is going to come to the Tenshi Bridge at noon, 10 days from the time when Sasori is telling him, which would mean around 4 days from now. And since Kakashi did use Kamui to um, teleport away one of Deidara's arms before he and Naruto killed Deidara, um, Kakashi was still like kind of exhausted, so he did decide to take a break for a little bit. He wasn't like in such a bad condition that he had to be hospitalized, but then he was still advised to take rest by Tsunade because otherwise he could succumb to chakra exhaustion. So yeah, Kakashi did as he was told, and when Naruto told Tsunade about the Tenchi Bridge thing, told him there's a high possibility that it would be a trap, and Naruto was like, "I know, that's why I sent some shadow clones there earlier to investigate, uh, and I would also like um, to have a replacement for Kakashi Sensei that works in the Anbu, as he would be familiar with he would have the experience to know when there are traps uh, and when there's danger approaching. And Tsunade um, agreed to Naruto's logic, and she actually, uh, complimented him on his intelligence for actually sending the shadow clones to scout the area beforehand. And Naruto just smiled, and Tsunade called Sasuke, and she told her about this information, and Sasuke nodded as Naruto had already told her about it. And then Danzo walked in, saying that since it wasn't a three-man cell, sorry, a four-man cell with Jonin uh, leading the with an experienced Jonin leading the group, he would choose other two members. And Tsunade said that he would only be allowed to choose one member, which would be the third teammate. And Danzo agreed, and he said that he was like, "I trust you, make a good choice," and all that. And Tsunade just nodded, and this is when Sai comes into the team. So yeah, and Naruto was just walking through the village with Shikamaru and Choji, as they were his best friends, and he was just hanging out with them. And he saw a guy. He basically saw two weirdly shaped lions jump out at him, and he realized that these lions were made using chakra conductive ink. And he was like, so beast scroll user, because he did read about this jutsu, but he never like wanted to learn it because it was a really passive way of fighting. So he easily took the two lions out with his lightning release, and he just said lightning style Chidori stream, and this basically destroyed both the inclines. And Naruto looked ahead to see a boy about his age sitting on the roof of a building with a scroll in his hands, and Naruto's like, so I guess that's him. And he basically body flickered up there to uh, fight him, because initially he thought he was an intruder, but then as their blades clashed, he looked at his shoulder and saw the root anbu tattoo, and he also saw a leaf headband tied to his other shoulder. And wait, do root Anbu wear headbands? No, I don't think so. But then, anyways, he just saw the root tattoo, and he was like, "So you're part of the root, are you?" And um, Sai just smiled at him, which irritated Naruto. But Naruto jumped back because he knew that the root was part of Konoha, and he knew that Danzo had some evil schemes. But then, for now, he wouldn't actively. Um, try to get that information from Sai. And Naruto was like, all right, I'll leave you to your business, but don't try to attack me like that again. And Sai just fake smiled at him, which irritated Naruto, but Naruto just body flickered back to Shikamaru and Choji, and Sai didn't bother him again. And um, Tsunade obviously assigned Yamato as the leader, as the Jonin team leader, and Yamato took up that role, and uh, he um, he called for Sasuke and Naruto to meet, and Sai walked in, and Naruto was absolutely not impressed with the choice of the next teammate, and Naruto was like. Uh, Captain Yamato, not to be rude or anything, but I request to have a different teammate than the one you chose. I don't believe he's trustworthy. And Yamato sighed because he thought that this might be a problem with Danzo having his Rutanbo play tricks on the on the other shinobi and all that shit. So yeah, and then Yamato's like, well, you will be teammates for a while, so get used to him. And Naruto uh, just shook his head because in resignation, and he they just went ahead. And Yamato, he decided to do a little simulation with them, same as in the original. And Yamato, he actually used wood to make like an image of Sasori, like the Hiruko puppet on that encased him. And Naruto was like, you are a wood element user. I sense that you have earth and water chakra and a large amount of yang chakra, but I never knew that you would actually be able to use the wood release. And Yamato was actually smiling at Naruto because he was pretty proud of his wood release, and Naruto was like, "Guess what? I can do it too." And Naruto also did a wood release ninjutsu, and this was the wood dragon jutsu. And Yamato was actually gaping in awe because he wouldn't even be able to manage to do something like this, like especially like something made with wood that actually moves. And after like he could make jutsus that made wood move, but then they would become stationary after a certain point. But he couldn't make something like a wood dragon or a wood golem, or as one of you pointed out, the thousand arm Buddha cannon or whatever, thousand arm cannon or something like that. Um, it's basically the Shinsu Senju, the Buddha slapping jutsu. So yeah, he couldn't do something like that, and Yamato was just gaping, and then Naruto's like, so you can't do that jutsu, and Yamato's like, no, my wood release is very basic. It's nothing compared to the first Hokage's, and then Naruto was like, so that must mean you must have gotten it artificially, huh? And Yamato was like in shock at how astute Naruto's observation was, and Yamato's like, yes, but enough on that. Let's get back to the simulation, and then they went through their simulation and all that crap. So yeah, and then they uh, they basically waited till the next day for Kabuto to arrive, and then Yamato disguised himself as Sasori and went up the bridge. Um, and he and Kabuto were just discussing, and Kurama was like, "Oi, Naruto, I don't believe that we can trust Kabuto." And Naruto was like, "I know Kurama. I don't believe we can trust him too. He seems to be quite um suspicious." And then Kurama was like, "Exactly. I don't think that he's working for Sasori anymore." And Naruto was like, maybe he decide to switch and start working for Orochimaru. But then, but how? I'm pretty sure the Akatsuki would have some kinds of jutsus that would stop an individual from doing so and defecting. And Kurama was like, that I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure his intentions aren't to just talk with Sasori. I believe that he's here for an ulterior purpose. And Naruto just nodded at this as he saw Sasuke and Sai were hiding behind the bush, and basically Yamato did the same thing. He whipped out the kunai to kill Kabuto, but then he didn't give himself away because Orochimaru was there, and Kabuto actually thought that Yamato was protecting him from Orochimaru, and but anyways, he's going to betray Sasori, or at least who he thought was Sasori. So yeah, he did the same thing where he slices the thing open, the Hiruko puppet open to see Yamato, and his leaf headband gave it away. Because Sasori was a rogue sand ninja, so he would have the sand ninja headband with a slash on it, but this one was an undamaged leaf headband. So Kabuto was like, so an imposter, and Orochimaru was like, indeed, that isn't Sasori. And Kabuto was like, I had my suspicions, and basically Yamato gives Team 7 the signal to come to the bridge, and they all body flickered there. And Orochimaru looked at Naruto, and he actually got pretty scared uh, because he knew that Naruto was really powerful, and he'd be a handful for even him to take on, especially since his body was getting weaker, and like in preparation for him to take over Sasuke's body. Sorry, not yeah, he wanted to take Sasuke's body, but he was basically waiting for Menma to convince Sasuke, or forcefully bring her to him. And then Orochimaru was like, Nine Tails. I wonder what you can do against my new student. And um, Naruto was like, oh, please, my idiot of a brother. I'm pretty sure he's nothing impressive. And Orochimaru was like, well, hold your thoughts till later. And he also gave a signal, and Menma came out bearing two Sharingan in his eyes, and this time both Naruto and Sasuke were really shocked, and Sasuke was like, Sharingan. And Menma just smirked at her. And Menma's reserves of chakra were pretty high, so he could actually handle the power of the Sharingan. And it wasn't really much of a drain for him, since he was an Uzumaki. So, and he was also the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, so yeah. And Naruto's like, Orochimaru, how did you get the Sharingan? And Orochimaru's like, well, where else? And then Naruto raised his eyebrows as he remembered the Uchiha massacre, and but he couldn't imagine that Orochimaru would actually infiltrate and gather the eyes of the deceased Uchihas, and there was no report of anyone sneaking in, and he knew that Orochimaru would be able to sneak into Konoha, but then for some reason he had a feeling that there might be an inside co-conspirator who was working with Orochimaru from within Konoha, and Naruto basically glared at Orochimaru, and he was like, "Well, it's time for it's time for us to teach you a lesson, you grave digger." And Orochimaru just smirked at Naruto, and Naruto blitzed Orochimaru and landed a punch in his gut. And but Orochimaru actually, like, before it could hit his gut, he actually blocked it with he blocked the punch, and he aimed a kick at Naruto, which Naruto easily dodged. And Naruto went from under Orochimaru, and pull tried to pull Orochimaru underground, but Orochimaru was like, that won't do. And he covered his feet with lightning chakra. And yeah, he could do this because Orochimaru had all five chakra natures. And Naruto substituted himself out of there with eagles, and he actually came out, and the eagles literally tore at Orochimaru's feet. And Orochimaru, he didn't expect this, and he was like really in pain because like some areas were literally torn to the bone, and you could see Orochimaru's bone. But Orochimaru can regenerate, so yeah. And basically snakes crawled over the injured area until Orochimaru was back, completely healed. And Naruto was like, that's a pesky thing. And he basically he used some ninjutsu on Orochimaru. He said, "Wind style, wind scythe," and Orochimaru easily just dodged the wind blast and said shadow striking snakes. And then a bunch of snakes came out of his arm and tried to bite Naruto, but Naruto just said lightning style, purple lightning. And all of these snakes were like they crumbled to dust, and Orochimaru's arm was gone. So he basically um, came out of his own mouth. And Naruto knew that there was some kind of jutsu and it would take chakra. So to have any chance of defeating Orochimaru right then and there before he would escape, he would have to block Orochimaru's access to chakra, or or make it like impossible for him to slither out of himself and basically like shed his skin. And Naruto did know some sealing jutsu from Indra and not Indra, like Ashura, because it was common for Ashura to use sealing jutsu in conjunction with his wood release. So so then Orochimaru's eyes widened as five you know his five fingers glowed with green chakra, and Naruto was like, five sorry, he was like, five prong seal. And then he basically jammed it into Orochimaru's gut before Orochimaru could react, because this time Naruto had actually marked Orochimaru, and he actually was able to use a flying Raijin to blitz him. And even though Orochimaru was able to block against the highest caliber of body flicker jutsus, um, the flying Raijin was no joke, and Orochimaru, had no way to counter it. So, Naruto pressed his fingers into Orochimaru's gut while turning slightly, and he removed his fingers, and Orochimaru's like, "You brat! How dare you!" He tried to bring chakra to his fingers uh, to remove the effects of the five prong seal. And but then he noticed that the chakra was fluctuating, but he knew that he had to give it a try, or he had no chance in this fight at all, like even to escape. He was like, five prong seal, release. And but then nothing happened, and then Orochimaru was like, damn it. And Naruto, by the time Orochimaru was finished doing that, he saw that Naruto had a Rasengan in his hand, and he smashed it into Orochimaru's head and basically killed him. So, and Menma actually was standing there like completely mesmerized at how skilled Naruto had gotten, and he was literally frozen in place because he didn't really uh, he basically was like so amazed by the fight that he basically was just frozen in place. And and Sasuke was the same because she was also interested in seeing Orochimaru's fight. And this is kind of just a plot twist, guys. And I know that the situation probably wouldn't happen, but then you know, uh, it just did. Okay, so then Sasuke turned to Menma and she was like, Naruto, can I take him on? And Naruto was like, sure, but don't use that. And Sasuke knew what that meant. It was basically her Mangekyo Sharingan because Naruto didn't want her to go blind. And Sasuke was like, sure, Naruto, will do. And Menma also added three Tomoe Sharingan, and so did Sasuke. And Menma was like, let's see whose Sharingan is better. And Sasuke was like, "Don't flatter yourself. Yours is just a fake one, as you borrowed it, and you can't even turn it on or off, which means it drains your chakra." And Menma was like, "Oh, it doesn't really make that big of a difference when you have chakra reserves as large as mine, the child of prophecies." And Naruto just grumbled at Menma still sticking to that child of prophecies thing, and then a child of prophecy thing, and then Sasuke was like, "I can't wait to get it through your head how insufferable you are, Menma." And Menma just smirked at her, and Sasuke said, "Fire style, blue plasma rain," and Menma was absolutely shocked at this because there's literally no way to dodge this, and he only had to find a way to block it. And he did learn some Earth release with Orochimaru's training, so he said, "Earth cell, Earth dome," and he hid inside the dome, but the fire literally melted through it, turning into drops of lava uh, that literally seared onto Menma's skin. And and I was like, how hot is that fire? And and the fire had no signs of um, of losing energy. And then Menma actually tried to use a water ninjutsu, and then he said, water style slush river, as he shot his hands into the air, and he channeled chakra through them. And the water is literally so cold that it was part ice, part water. And even though Menma didn't have the ice Kekigenkai, this is basically how far he could go to cool water. And but Menma was actually really shocked uh, when Sasuke clapped her hands together, and all of the uh, you know um, all of the little plasma bullets that came from the sky um, went straight at the huge amount of slush that Menma was making, uh, like from his chakra. And then um, Menma was absolutely shocked to see that only one of the bullets hit the stream of slush from each hand, and completely evaporated it. And basically he had nothing more to do, and the plasma rained on him. And basically he was covered in several burns. And Naruto was like, "This is it, Menma, we're taking you back." And uh, Menma grinned as he turned into a puff of smoke, and Naruto was like, a shadow clone." And Menma was like, "Well, you demon, I actually took a leaf out of your book when I saw you actually reinforcing your shadow clones with chakra." And Naruto was like, "Hmm, so copying tricks from me, are you?" And Menma glared at Naruto, and Naruto basically, like before Menma could do anything, Naruto just sent a Chidori straight through Menma's body, and this wasn't a vital point, so that Menma wouldn't die. And Menma gasped as his blood spewed from his mouth, and Naruto waited for a little bit, and he was like, so this wasn't a clone. And Menma's, you know, Menma's absolutely, uh, like, really weak voice came out, and he was like, "How dare you? I'm the child of prophecy." And Naruto basically punched Menma real hard, so that he actually spit out some blood from his mouth, and he was like, "It is because you keep telling yourself that you're the child of prophecy that you're so weak." And Menma was like, "How dare you?" And then the reason that Menma didn't pass out was that Naruto had removed his hand, and Kurama was actually using his chakra to close the wound. And basically, so Menma was like, "What do you mean?" And then Naruto was like, uh, your self characterization of yourself as the child of prophecy completely slowed you down in your training. You completely abandoned your training just because you thought that you're better than everyone, since you're the supposed child of prophecy. And Menma saw Naruto's point, but he was nowhere near allowing, close to allowing his brother, his demon of a brother, to give him any advice. So Menma was like, "Shut up!" And then he took a Kabuto, and he reverse summoned himself back to Orochimaru's hideout, and he was absolutely pissed off to see that Naruto was still so much stronger than him, and Kabuto was like, "Well, that's not all. Naruto had completely been holding back against you. I could sense sage energy. I don't know from where, but I could sense it inside that boy." And Menma was like, "Oh please, even I have sage energy." And Kabuto was like, "Well, that may be true. You only have sage energy from Ruichi Cave, as you are a snake sage. But Naruto, I could sense um, I could sense Toad Sage mode, as well as Toad Sage energy, as well as a huge amount of Yang chakra inside him." And Man was like, "Who cares about any Yang chakra?" And Kabuto was actually kind of mentally face palming, because he was like, "How did Orochimaru sama get such an idiot for a student?" And basically, he explained to Menma about light and dark release, yang and yin release. By the way, a lot of people get confused between what yin and yang represent. Like, they think that yin is the light, and yang is dark, but then it's actually the other way around. Yin is the dark, you know um, part, and yin is the light. Yang is the light part. So yeah. Anyways, with that cleared up, um, Kabuto explained to Menma about all of this, as Naruto and Sasuke were like, "Crap, we couldn't get him." And Naruto was like, "Well, I don't really mind if we get him or not, but then he is one of the Jinchuriki of our village, so it will be a bad thing for him to run amok somewhere else with Orochimaru." And Sasuke was like, "Don't you care about a teammate?" And Naruto was like, "Well, he wasn't much of a teammate to me." And Sasuke's eyes softened as she knew Naruto's past, and how Menma and the rest of his family treated him. So yeah, she basically didn't want to uh, continue bringing up the subject of Menma. So yeah, that's how the Tenchi Bridge situation happened, and they went back to Konoha, and they were feeling pretty okay. And by the way, Sai didn't have the chance to go to Orochimaru because he saw Orochimaru being killed by Naruto. So yeah, he went in to report to Danzo that he had failed the mission because uh, the to be recipient of the message from Danzo was killed. So Danzo actually forgive Sai about this, even though this is not the type of thing that Danzo would do. Because Sai kind of had no control over the situation because, you know, he had to keep his secret, and Naruto, you know, destroyed Orochimaru anyways. So there wasn't any way that Sai would be able to save him. So yeah, and as Naruto and Sasuke were walking around the village, they saw Guy and Lee training, and Guy was looking at them, and he saw both of them smiling as they were talking to each other, and he saw tears started coming from his eyes, and he was like, "Such youthfulness," and Naruto asked him, "What's your obsession with youth, man?" Like he didn't ask me like that. He was like, "What's your obsession with youth?" And guy was like, "Don't be like that. Uh, Somehow Kakashi's students are always better than mine. Filled to the brim with the power of youth." And Lee was like, "But Guy Sensei, I'm also filled with the power of youth." And Guy was like, "Of course you are, and Neji is, but that Tenten, she could do to earn some more youthfulness." And Naruto's basically trying not to laugh as he saw Tenten right behind them, and she ran up to Guy and Lee, giving them both like knocks on their head, like pretty hard. And she was like, "What did you say? And not youthful?" And Guy was like, "I'm sorry, Tenten, but then you do have to train." And he was like, "For example, look at the youthfulness of Kakashi's team." And Tenton just grumbled and walked away, and she was like, "You and your youth." And anyways, Naruto just um completely longing to get away from Guy because I he couldn't uh, he didn't understand what to do when he talked to Guy. He didn't understand how to respond to his enthusiasm, so it made it really awkward for him to try to talk to Guy. So he just told bade Guy goodbye, and then he just walked around more with Sasuke, and they went on a little date. And yeah, so pretty eventful. And then afterwards, the word comes out that two Akatsuki members in and sorry, two shinobi in dressed in black robes with red clouds actually killed the priest of the fire temple, and the Chiriku guy. So and Asuma actually was uh, really devastated because he and Chiriku were good friends, as they were both on the legendary 12 Guardian Shinobi. And yeah, and then Naruto knew that they were the Akatsuki, and then he told everyone this, and then everyone did their search. They basically started to look for Hidan and Kakuzu, and Team Asuma actually um, found both of them walking by, and they actually went to intercept them, and basically actually, they didn't go to intercept them. Asuma was about to call for backup, uh, but then Choji's backpack was full of chips packets. So while Choji moved, the chips packets actually crinkled and made a sound, and this got the attention of both Akatsuki members. And Asuma mentally cursed, himself for allowing Choji to carry such a ridiculous, amount of chips packets, and you know, he actually called for backup right at that time, and they had to engage the Akatsuki members um, because they were basically just observing them, and they were like, and Hidan was like, "Come down, you fools! I'll show you the way of Jashin." And then Asuma and Team 10 went down to fight, and Hidan was like, "Are you interested in following the way of Jashin?" And Shikamaru was like, "Oh, a religious freak! What a drag!" And yeah, sorry guys if I'm offending you, if for any if I'm like offending any of you who take your religion seriously and stuff, please don't be offended. This is not like a statement aimed towards you. It's just I don't have anything against religion or anything like that. I'm just saying that the religion that Hidan follows is kind of freaky because human sacrifices and shit. So anyways, um Shikamaru said this, and Hidan got offended, and he was like, "You'll be punished for Jashin-sama." And he went swinging his scythe at Shikamaru, and Shikamaru easily used the shadow stitching jutsu to actually capture Hidan, and but he was surprised to see that even though he hit Hidan's like vital points, he was still alive, and Hidan was screaming, "That really hurt! Now I'll really show you the way of Jashin." And Shikamaru was like, "Oh, what a drag, you and your Jashin." And Hidan was like, "Don't mock Lord Jashin, he'll punish you." And he basically got out of the shadow stitching, and he began swinging his scythe as at Shikamaru. And when Asuma actually called for backup, he saw a special shuriken that Naruto had once given him, and and Naruto told Asuma that if Team 10 was ever in danger or they could use a bit of help, he could just throw the shuriken up and it would transform into one of his shadow clones. And not Orochimaru, Asuma actually wondered if this would still work since it had been like 2.5 years since Naruto gave him that shuriken. But he threw it up, and it still turned into Naruto's shadow clone. And the shadow clone was like, "Don't worry, Asuma Sensei, I'll go get the main." And Asuma was like, "Wait, we have no time." But he saw as the Shadow Clone actually held a prong kunai in his hand, and Asuma was like, "Is that what I think it is?" And the Shadow Clone didn't respond as it passed chakra through the uh, knife, and then the original Naruto appeared with Sasuke actually, since they were both walking together. So basically, uh, Hidan and Kakuzu were both like, what are two extra kids gonna do? Like Hidan was like that. He was like, what are two extra kids gonna do? And Naruto's like, well, you wait and see. And Hidan basically was about to draw Shikamaru's blood, and Naruto could tell by the way that Hidan was fighting that Hidan wasn't trying to kill Shikamaru. He was just trying to get a nick on him, and that with his weird religion. Like by the way, when Naruto came, Hidan was still talking about religion as though it was the greatest thing in the world, pretty much. And Naruto knew that this might be some kind of cult ritual or something, and it might be dangerous to actually let Hidan have what he wants. Which is the blood of one of Team 10. So basically, right as Hidan was about to slice Shikamaru, uh, by the way, Asuma and the other two were taking Kakuzu. So basically, right as Hidan was about to slice Shikamaru, Naruto literally just caught the blade with one hand and snapped it, and this made it pretty much useless for you know Hidan to try to use it. So he basically grabbed inside his Akatsuki robe and he took out, another sharp stick kind of thing, like how he uses against Shikamaru in the forest when Shikamaru forces him to throw away the scythe, right? So basically, he brings that out and he still continues fighting and tries to slash Naruto this time because Shikamaru was covered by Naruto and Naruto told him to keep him to make Hidan go into a shadow position uh, when the um, when Naruto's when Naruto's plan starts working and all that stuff. And he told Shikamaru that he would give the signal. So Shikamaru was basically waiting for the signal, and right as Hidan was about to uh, um, slice Naruto. Naruto actually just sliced at his Hidan's chest and left a deep gash. And when due to Hidan's momentary surprise, Shikamaru actually did the shadow, you know, what is that thing? Shadow possession jutsu, and Naruto walked up to Hidan and he was like, "Hmm, so it seems like your cult rituals make you immortal, huh?" And Hidan was like, "Yeah, Jord Lashi, sorry, why did I say Jord Lashin? Lord Jashin actually, he was like, yeah, Lord Jashin will make sure that I'm rewarded and that you're punished." And Naruto was like, huh, couldn't be more delusional, can you? And as Hidan started to protest, Naruto basically sliced off his head and cut up his body into bits with his katana, and he also did the same to Hidan's head, making it impossible for Hidan to be fixed. And Kakuzu was also a little annoyed as Hirano's his teammate and everything, and Naruto was helping the rest of the people with Kakuzu. By the way, Sasuke was also helping them defeat Kakuzu. So yeah, and then basically Kakuzu sees Naruto and what he's capable of, and he gets out all five of his hearts, and Naruto's like, I don't have time for this. Wood style, wood golem jutsu, and Kakuzu's eyes widened in surprise as he saw the first Hokage, one of his targets as an assassin, like his jutsus put in use. Of course, Kakuzu had failed the assassination because of the sheer power of the first Hokage. And then this kid seemed to be giving off a similar power. And Kakuzu was actually scared of Naruto, um due to his lineage, pretty much, and due to whose chakra he resembled, and basically Naruto, he still decided to fight Naruto, and then he did a bunch of attacks like with his wind style and fire style combined to form like a great fireball enhanced with wind. But then Naruto easily used his ice style to make a wall and just extinguish the fire pretty easily, and like only like a few centimeters of where the fire hit actually managed to you know dent it. And Naruto said ice style, ice blades, and then a bunch of cold ice blades stuck up from the ground and stabbed into all of Kakuzu's you know masks, which represented hearts, except for one. And Naruto, he was like, I've had enough of your multiple lives thing. It's annoying. and she said, "Scorch style, mummifying orbs." And as she said this, three orange orbs, like three like golden colored orbs, came out of her hands and whizzed towards Kakuzu. And Kakuzu, since his reaction time wasn't very fast because of the attacks from the Genin, sorry, not the Genin, sorry, um, due to the attacks from due to the previous attack from Naruto, um, like he wasn't able to dodge it, and then he got hit by like two of the Scotch release balls, and his like he basically became completely emaciated and completely burnt up, and he looked like a mummy pretty much. So like he already kind of did look like a mummy, like some kind of undead thing, but Kakuzu looks more like a mummy now. So yeah, and then this is how he actually saved Asuma from dying. As in the regular timeline, Asuma would have definitely died. And yeah, and uh, Naruto, since he managed to take care of those two Akatsuki members, he actually went to the village and enjoyed a little bit of relaxing for once, and yeah, and now we switch to Menma, who was really jealous of Naruto because, according to Kabuto, he had a lot of Yang chakra, and this was really, uh, you know, really high level shit, and very powerful. So he asked Orochimaru whether he could learn uh, Yang release, and Orochimaru was like, I can barely sense any Yang chakra in you, and you have majority of Yin chakra, but that's only because of your nine tails. And basically, Orochimaru was like, Menma, I can't teach you to have a Yin or Yang release. You just have to learn them out of your own experience. And basically, Orochimaru was like, but instead of Yang chakra, I can give you something better. And Menma basically listened in, not wanting to miss what Orochimaru was saying. And Orochimaru said, "Well, are you aware of the Hashirama cells, Menma?" And Menma was like, "Oh, that's what they are." And Orochimaru was like, so you have seen them. And Orochimaru's like obviously pointing to like a jar in which he kept the Hashirama cells while he was doing this. And Menma was like, "Well, I've seen these, but I didn't know they were called Hashirama cells." Orochimaru shook his head, seeing how dumb his apprentice was, and he really needed a new body, but Naruto's power was too overwhelming for him to actually, uh, you know, um, handle. And by the way, I know you guys must be thinking, how did Orochimaru get revived? But then this is pretty easy, just through one of the curse seals. Um, Among the people who actually were compatible with the curse seals. So yeah, he was able to actually get revived by Kabuto from there. So yeah, and then Menma was like, "So what do these Hashirama cells do?" And um, Orochimaru was like, "You know about the first Hokage, don't you?" And Menma was like, "Hashirama Senju, wasn't he?" Wait, those are his cells? And Orochimaru basically gave him a mocking smile, and um, he put the cells back onto the desk. And Menma was like, "Why do you have the cells of the first Hokage?" And Orochimaru said, "Well, they are pretty good resources, do you know that?" And Menma was like, "But why would you remove like cells of a dead Hokage. And Orochimaru just laughed at what Menma was saying, and basically, well, the first Hokage can use wood release, and Menma's ears piqued an interest, and he was like, "Wood release? What's that?" And Orochimaru was like, "Normally, when people have a Keki Genkai where they can combine earth and water release, the result is mud release. But then the first Hokage, due to his abundance of Yang chakra, he was able to he was able to use a special bloodline limit called wood release." And Menma was like, "But what is so special about wood release?" And Orochimaru basically laughed at Menma right now, and he was like, "Menma, the first Hokage was able to keep the tailed beasts as if they were his pets using the wood release, and he became stronger than all of them because of his wood release." And Menma was like, uh, "What if he was just like really strong without the wood release, but then he just had it as an ability?" You know, you guys know what I mean, right? Like, Orochimaru was like, "Well, his power was due to his overwhelming capacity in using wood release ninjutsu." Lord Hashirama, the first Hokage, was hailed as a god of shinobi. So I plan to implant these Hashirama cells inside you, uh, so that after you rest for a week, you will be able to use it as well. And Menma finally understood why Orochimaru was talking about sorry Kabuto was talking about the Yang chakra inside him. And basically Menma was like Kabuto was talking about the Yang chakra inside Naruto, and basically Menma was like, "Well, seems Naruto has wood release. I already know he has all five chakra natures." And basically uh, Menma gets implanted by these Hashirama cells, and he takes a long rest. And basically now we end this part off. And like and subscribe, and comment your thoughts about this video down below, and comment any future what ifs you'd want me to do. And thanks for watching, guys.